Hello, everyone. My name is Susie Q. Smith, and I'm going to read you some poems today. So I always have like a very well prepared set list, and I think that I know what I'm going to read, and then the moment arrives, and it might shift a little bit. But in considering health and equity and advocacy, all of those things together, I think I'd like to start especially about the city that I live in, the city that raised me, the city that I grew up in, Denver, Colorado, which is where I still am. And this poem is called "We Pay Cash for Houses." This poem is what's called a contrapuntal, meaning it's written in two columns. So you read one column down, the other column down, and then you read both columns together across. So you might hear some repetition in these lines. Front yards with grass, old trees and shiny crab apples. Liquor stores here got bulletproof glass. The churches, tattered lighthouses hold all our secrets. We lost Martin Luther King Boulevard. We hum our shame in moans. Old spirituals shaped the bricks, hand-me-down houses, delicious trees that gossip over fences. Popeye's chicken, church's chicken, laundromat check cashing payday loans. We, who know each other's names, and borrowed cups of sugar, $20 until payday, just until we get on our feet. And did we not get on our feet? We made this, all of this. We made it. Fresh cut, clean as first day of school sneakers, even the mirror's finesse, the new banks on the block, bundles of slow plunder, but the sidewalks ain't cracked no more. The alleyways, smooth as untested promise, of former corner store seedlings, blooming into downward-facing dog, and parks that unwelcome children, bike lanes and boutique wine bars, or family-friendly microbreweries hear all the scents and sounds conspiring, flooding to the teeth in whispered howls, drowning in hissed welcomes adrift the taunting memory of ground, air, made fat and wet with our breath, for you, for you. Front yards with grass, fresh cut. Old trees and shiny crab apples, clean as first day of school sneakers. Liquor stores here got bulletproof glass, even the mirrors finesse, the churches. Tattered lighthouses, the new banks on the block hold all our secrets. Bundles of slow plunder. We lost Martin Luther King Boulevard, but the sidewalks ain't cracked no more. We hum our shame in moans. The alleyways smooth as untested promise. Old spirituals shape the bricks of former corner store seedlings. Hand-me-down houses blooming into downward-facing dog. Delicious trees that gossip over fences and parks that unwelcome children. Popeye's chicken, church's chicken, bike lanes and boutique wine bars, laundromat check cashing payday loans or family-friendly microbreweries. We, who know each other's names, hear all the scents and sounds conspiring, and borrowed cups of sugar flooding to the teeth in whispered howls, $20 until payday, drowning in hissed welcomes just until we get on our feet, adrift the taunting memory of ground. And did we not get on our feet? Air, made fat and wet with our breath, we made this, all of this, for you. We made it for you. And so that is sort of an ode to Park Hill, which is the neighborhood in Denver that I grew up in, and the Park Hill that I once knew in relationship to the Park Hill that exists today. So that is, again, called "We Pay Cash for Houses." The next poem I'd like to share is called "The Laughing Barrel Must Have Been Cobalt Blue," and this is a tribute to my grandmother, who still lives in Park Hill. Under the shadow of a headline, looking too much like our children, we tucked and folded and gathered ourselves and each other into the skirt of my grandmother's dining room tablecloth, all of us lamenting and listing the labors and losses, the table spilling over with stories of the times the police were called or not called but came, the last jobs or second interviews, the neighbor or grocery store clerk, the child at school and or their mother and or their father and or the teacher and the table, listening, dipped in the center near to snapping under the burden until my grandmother emerged from the kitchen, apron speckled, but here is the thing, the real thing, her pointed finger stern and scolding us into silence. Would any of you want to be anything other than what you are? And we sat, stunned, staring at ourselves until we began to laugh. And we laughed. We laughed into each other's shoulders. We laughed into howling, howled into howling until the moon herself walked into the room, staggering, crooked finger in the air, laughed her round face into our laughter, howling a perfect mirror, our moon eyes spilling throaty and harmonious, looking and laughing and loving our rich, delicious lives, too perfect, too precious, and we ate to music. We ate without muting, our tears rolling into our open mouths. And that is for my grandmother. Next poem that I would like to share with you, I'm not sure I have ever read aloud because it is relatively new. But when I was invited to read some poems here today, I thought this one perhaps was fitting. So this is called The Illness of Spring 2020. 99.5. I'm fine. After the shower, my skin burned. Might got a touch of that young Rona, but I'm good. Don't worry about me. I worked out today and everything. I sweat past fever, past illness, past. Drink ginger, drink vinegar, drink broth. Take B and C and D and zinc, elderberry, nettle, Irish moss, pineapple, ashwagandha. 100. For 2 days, then gone. I slept and slept. Cough came and came. Head weighted, piercing, sweated cleanly into and through my sheets. So many days I still dance through and against coughing breaks. 100.5. People send videos and voice messages, conspiracies about where the virus came from, what they don't want you to know about cures, how to blow dry up your nostrils and hop on one foot, why Black people can't get it, why it's killing Black people first, as if I don't already write about the tortured history of Black people and medicine, as if my Black grandmother didn't work as a surgical tech for 30 years, as if she didn't raise me washing my hands. 101 for 2 days, then returned, as if I don't already know the ins and outs of illness and conspiracies, as if I haven't been my own primary caregiver for years, so I don't tell them I'm sick. The last thing I want is their suggestions or to use my small energy calming their fears. I know how to navigate illness. 101.5 for 3 days, then gone. I mean, I feel like I got a belt wrapped around my lungs, but I have rapped on stage in a corset more than once. I'm good. Haven't my lungs known wisdom and vice enough to surrender breath? Surrender I know well enough to text my daughter somewhere in the midst of it. 102 for 1 week, then return. If it should get bad, I'll let you know. And if it gets really, really bad, you're my beneficiary and everything I have is yours. Not to be morbid. You already know the passcode to my phone. We have both been through enough not to cry about this, to trust wisdom for now and save theatrics for a more reasonable quiet. I hope I did enough with my life. Still got plenty to do. I hope I loved hard enough. I might have loved too hard. I mean, I'm good at sheltering in place and wild grateful for this sanctified stillness, except I write out the words every day. I'm so sorry for your loss. Love to you and your family. I'm here. How can I help? What do you need? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 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 If we are lucky, our bodies will teach us the glory of pause before we die. We become who we love without the burden of an audience. We dance into our little bodies, hopeful to be loved in and beyond them. I go back and forth writing about myself in past and present tense. And that is my poem about the illness of spring 2020. I'll close with this poem, which very specifically references the future. And it is called We Sang Ourselves Free. We didn't always know we would win. just that we would do whatever we had to in order to get free. We used to sing softly to each other, to ourselves, hum low under our breath to remember our voices in places we were unwelcome. We danced in secret. We laughed silently across rooms, taking our quiet joys and tucking them into our pockets like perfumed handkerchiefs we could smell later when we needed to remember. One day, we saw the first rose bloom in years when we sang the low notes we'd been singing since before time had a name. We got louder. More people joined in the song, and the grasses awoke from their slumber. The wolves came and sat at our feet, weeping. The rains came down, and the trees remembered us. We began again anew. We knew God was listening. And the rains came the way they come, slow and sweet at first, washing the old ash and dust to the rivers. And then again there were rivers where we washed our hands and feet, where we washed each other's hair, where we sang our old songs and the earth heard, answering in heather and pine. And she answered in the day's harvest, yellows spiraling into violets, sweets wrapping themselves into spicy oranges, and fuchsias tumbling over each other to embrace the sour and soft fruit of each other. We ate and grew fat again. We all fell madly in love and raised perfect children, the sort of perfect that brought us into each day laughing. We grinned rich as noonday, each of us carrying the songs and teaching them to the children, how to stretch a note all the way into fingertips until the trees begin to sway. You feel that? We said to each other, our hairs standing to answer the electric air. Yes, we all answered. Yes. Thank you very much. And with that, I will turn this back over to Kevin.